Welcome on into You Heard with Nerds. I'm Brett.
I'm Dorian.
We're talking about stuff today.
We are.
Thank you guys for listening and hanging out with us. Make sure you subscribe for more of these in the next couple weeks. Probably, it's September now. I'm guessing probably by the end of October, we're going to be starting back up our Thursday throwbacks, starting with Legend of Korra. And so we're going to do a couple books of that and see how it goes, and so be looking for those again come next month. So what are we talking about today, Dorian?
A lot.
There was a lot of news this week.
There was a lot of news this week. For starters, we're going to be talking about the PS5 showcase, the latest Nintendo Direct, some status updates on our favorite superhero movies and TV shows in terms of their production and all that. But first things first.
I'm the realist.
Mandalorian Season 2 has a trailer.
It does have a trailer.
Yeah.
Which was pretty, and it's a teaser. It's not like okay. In today's terms, it's a teaser because it doesn't really reveal anything, which is what a trailer's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I liked this. There was enough action, enough humor, enough teases that I was like, let's get this going. We got a month and a half, basically.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less. And, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, main thing about the trailer, teaser, whatever you want to call it, basically it's focusing on, or at least making the focus of the season seem like that it's going to be Mando and the child are looking for Jedi across multiple planets, kind of like how they did, or inferred at the end of season 1. The Empire still seems to be a big player this season. It's not going to be something that they come in towards the end. It seems like there was a lot of footage of stormtroopers and all that. So far, yeah, I mean, looks good. Best part of the trailer was when Baby Yoda closes his pod when they're about to start throwing down in that arena place or whatever here, or that underground fight club.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm assuming that their search for the Jedi will lead them to Ahsoka.
Maybe, or just the name of her, hey, this person, and then I can see them doing something at the end where they finally find where they're supposed to go, and they're not there yet, maybe, and then it cuts away to it pans down to Ahsoka somewhere.
Yeah, just
and then next season we're gonna meet Ahsoka.
Yeah, just a setup type thing, or
because she wasn't around for a lot of the shooting, from what we understand. Excuse me.
You're excused.
She shot her parts, and then I think this is where the lead into maybe Ahsoka's, because Ahsoka's going to have her own show.
Yeah.
I think season 3 might be where, if they use her at more, but really, I don't know what the end game with the child is, and then that's part of the mystery of the show, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, how he ties into essentially the bigger timeline of the Star Wars universe, because obviously, I'm assuming he's not that big because we don't see him in any of the sequel trilogy as far as we know of here, or really playing any type of part, unless the child's going to have his own show or something like that beyond this, which I don't know. I mean, might be a little far-fetched, but we'll see.
Yeah. We got our first look at, first look at Sabine Wren. Sabine is a Mandalorian from Star Wars Rebels.
Yep.
Played by Sasha Banks from the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one in the cloak that kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Some people were saying she could be a Jedi, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think this is Sabine. She looks the part. Even down to, I know, I don't know if we could see her hair very well, but people are pointing out when she was doing WWE stuff around this time, she had blue hair. Sabine Wren is known to have crazy colored hair in the show.
Because we've seen her in the Clone Wars, she had didn't she have red hair during that time, or am I thinking of somebody else here?
No, she was in Rebels.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she had orange hair. She at first a little bit orange and red.
Yeah,
green. I don't know. She had all different kinds of colors. Blue.
Gotcha.
She
like to change it up.
Yeah. So I think that this person, is the older version of Sabine. We'll see what happens with that. It's interesting because they're kind of mission. So for those of you who didn't watch Rebels, at the end they're kind of looking for Ezra Bridger. He goes to the unknown. He basically travels to the unknown regions of space. They don't know if he's dead or alive. And so Ahsoka and Sabine team up to go after and look for Ezra. That's the end of Star Wars Rebels. And so it's cool that we get to see her now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a tie-in for Ezra Bridger in future seasons of bringing him into the fold.
Possibly, yeah.
Who is also a Jedi.
Yeah.
And so, we'll see what happens with that. I'm excited. I've been hearing lately, and this is kind of more rumor mill stuff, but that, Disney wasn't the happiest with season 2 and where they were at. And there's also rumors of Pedro Pascal kind of having a falling out. We'll see if that affects it. I don't think it will. Disney's pretty good about that stuff. And I hope that The Mandalorian doesn't get written out of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Unless Sabine's the new Mandalorian.
Yeah, but even then, it's kind of like... I'd still feel like that would be a little bit of a betrayal if they did, like, end up writing Mando out of it. Just because it's like, this is essentially...
This is the way.
This is the way, and this is essentially the person that we have become attached to in this show here and all that. But, yeah, so... But...
All right, so let's talk about some more Disney news.
Yeah.
Marvel has, we think, cast their next villain.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of an all but confirmed thing at this point.
Yeah, I've seen tons of reports on it.
Even IMDb is listing him as Kang the Conqueror here.
So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Ant-Man 3 is going to introduce Kang the Conqueror, who's a pretty big deal in the Marvel universe.
Which, real quick, did they even announce Ant-Man 3 was a thing before this? Because I
don't know if they... I don't think they did, to be honest, because that was one of the things I was like, that's interesting, that's not on this slate, because I feel like that would be something that they would do. Now, with everything that's going on now, I feel like they're going to be slower to the game of going, hey, this movie's coming out in 2023 or whatever.
Well, right. I mean, just because there's so much uncertainty right now in the movie industry.
So, yeah, basically... the actor who's playing it, I don't really know.
Yeah,
I don't know him. Yeah, his name's Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, I don't know him either. He's currently doing some I think some like more recent shows that I haven't been watching. I think like a Lovecraft Country or something like that. But yeah, I haven't seen him in anything or really heard about him since then. So yeah, so he's kind of an unknown quantity to me.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know Kang, I don't really remember him from a ton of different Marvel runs, but basically...
Me neither. He's
like a dimensional traveler / time traveler.
Yeah, time travel villain who I think, from what I was researching, basically at a certain point, like in the distant future of the Marvel Universe, he's like the guy who rules the Marvel Universe here through like different means. So kind of a big deal, it seems like. Not like really much of a throwaway villain, and even like, I know there's some theories going around that he may be the next Thanos, essentially, which maybe, I don't know. I mean,
kind of seems like a downgrade. Well, I don't really know how you top Thanos, though, beyond the Eternals.
I mean, well, or like have somebody like Galactus or Apocalypse.
Galactus, yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that seems more in line with like, that type of
He's got to be coming, because then I want some Silver Surfer action.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, and plus, who knows how Doctor Doom's going to factor into this whole thing. I mean...
I'm sure he'll be like a B-tier villain that leads up to...
I think he'll probably be something along the lines of like kind of a Loki in terms of like importance.
Right.
Or something like that. And he'll, work with the heroes, but he'll also work against them type thing. That's what I'm predicting on that front.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have some more good news if you're a Disney Plus subscriber. Mm-hmm. WandaVision's still happening this year, apparently.
Yeah, which
apparently,
which I mean, it does make sense from like what we've heard of previously that they've finished doing all the filming. It was just all the post production work. And I think that was even like way back, like before Corona even hit or something along those lines. So. Yeah, I mean, so we're getting something for, Disney Plus here, but it's kind of one of those things where it's just like, I mean, okay, I mean, I don't think there's like the expectations for this are like really all that high. I think this is just kind of like a fun little side project for the MCU. Maybe not. We'll kind of...
Yeah, depending on what it actually turns into, because the way it's being pitched, I'm not super interested in it. I'll watch it just to see what it's about.
Sure.
But I'm not really interested in a sitcom that takes place in Scarlet Witch's head.
Yeah. And I mean, And Disney, I mean, they did confirm that this is still happening, but they haven't really given us a release date, which, I mean, probably give us like something like that, like maybe, I don't know.
I'd say December.
Or like a month out or something when it's supposed to premiere, kind of like they did.
Yeah, they'll probably give us more info. What I'm guessing is they're going to give The Mandalorian about a month for people to watch and get more subscribers back, and then make the announcement, hey, in 4 weeks or whatever, you're going to get this, and then in another 4 weeks, you're going to get Winter Soldier or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, I guess they're resuming production on the Winter Soldier finally.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie tweeted a photo of him in like a new Falcon suit. Looks fine. I mean, doesn't look like anything amazing or like crazy or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's back firing on all cylinders, hopefully. So
yeah.
So hopefully we can get this thing sooner rather than later, because initially this was supposed to be in August.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, pretty crazy that it's all gotten pushed back. We're in September now, so we're not too far out, but they haven't even finished production, it sounds like.
Right.
Which, for a lot of shows, they continue to shoot while the product is released. Yeah. And with Disney Plus, it comes out every week. It doesn't come all at once, so I can see them doing maybe even a 2-part thing, like they release half the season now and then half the season later to kind of appease the audience.
Possibly. I mean, I could probably see this, like, if barring any further complications with like Corona and shooting and all that, I could see this potentially coming out like maybe
March.
I'm thinking earlier, maybe like January of 2021 or something like that. Like I said, if barring any issues, because I figured they have to have like a decent amount already shot now. I think it's just like maybe a couple more key scenes that they gotta take care of, or like maybe an episode's worth of filming, and then they're pretty much good to go here. But I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Speaking of people coming back from coronavirus, the man, the myth, the legend, the Batman is back to work. He returns. Batman returns, guys.
To production.
In case you haven't heard, if you weren't a Michael Keaton fan, this pun will make no sense.
Yeah. Grow up a little bit more.
Yeah. Go get an education and some Tim Burton.
Yeah.
So Robert Pattinson's back to work, which is great news for everyone, because that movie was shaping up to look fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
I mean, right now, I went from like really not caring about that movie to that being probably my most anticipated movie right about now here.
Hopefully still 2021.
Hopefully still 2021.
Even if it came out like Christmas time, if they are following the long Halloween, like, because it goes over those holidays, like it would still make sense. Like
it would.
It would just not be as cool as like a Halloween release.
But I mean, I feel like in terms of like the general like a general Batman movie, I feel like it just makes sense to be kind of an October, kind of near Halloween thing, just because like every day in Gotham is Halloween.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, despite it being the long Halloween or not.
Yep. So, accurate. Mm-hmm. Let's talk some video game news.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of video game news.
Yep. Strap in.
Something. Mass Effect Trilogy Remastered was leaked.
Yeah, basically it's coming from a listing from a Portuguese retail site, and it shows that the game exists, and it's scheduled for October 2020 release date, and it's supposed to be coming to Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. Yep. And since then,
that was my best Tim Allen impersonation.
And then
that was better, I guess.
That's a little bit better, yeah. And then. Since then, like I think within a couple hours of this listing going, viral, it gets taken down, which typically is like
indication.
Typically it's like, all right, it's all but confirmed at this point. But I really like these games. I think
I played 2 and 3. I didn't play, what was it?
The first one?
No, the trash one that everyone cried about.
Well, 3 is the one that
is it Armageddon?
Oh, you mean Andromeda, yeah, the one that came out like this gen, yeah. I haven't played that one, but I mean it's apparently pretty much like its own thing. It's separate from the storyline. So
yeah, 3 was pretty fun. I remember.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's honestly like a cool series of games. I mean, didn't quite stick the landing towards the end right there, but you basically are essentially kind of shaping a sci-fi story across 3 games by decisions and choices you make and like certain things that you do and all that. I mean, if you don't know what this is,
it's a space RPG essentially.
It's, with like
with shooting.
shooting mechanics. But yeah, I mean, really like these games on when I played them last generation. I don't know how well these games are really going to hold up, to be honest with you.
I think 3 could, 1 and 2. I don't know if they will.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's mostly just because we have kind of come a little bit further in like storytelling, graphics, and like even just like making decisions in like video games since these games have come out here.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the meat of this last week. We were very blessed this last week when it comes to video game news.
Oh yeah, no, it was just like one
after the other.
Absolutely.
So we got another Nintendo Direct Mini.
Yeah, I mean they've been kind of doing like at least like
every other week, or every week.
Well, at least like one big announcement a week.
Whether it's a trailer, a partner's mini direct, or the Mario the special mini directs, or
Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity being announced. It's been like something big to keep Nintendo in the conversation every week here.
Yeah, and I think honestly this is probably the best mini they've done in a while.
The mini direct. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So for those of you who are Monster Hunter fans, this is your direct.
Oh, this is your direct. I mean, because not only did you get like the Monster Hunter like trailers in this direct, you also got a fully focused Monster Hunter direct after this here that talked about like
another 17 minutes.
Yeah, these games specifically here, which
I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Basically, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, Nintendo had their mini direct early in the morning, and then it said basically immediately following this direct, we're having a Monster Hunter direct.
Yeah.
I watched both. I thought that was great. I'm excited. I'm not a completionist by any means when it comes to video games.
Yeah.
I lose interest really quick.
Yeah.
But I would say Monster Hunter games are pretty dang fun, especially with friends.
Yeah.
Like we played the
World,
last Monster Hunter. Yeah. Is it Monster Hunter World? Yeah.
Monster Hunter World.
Yeah. On this generation. And so super fun. Now, what I'm interested to see, and it sounds like these are Switch exclusives.
It is, but let's kind of like get into like the specifically what was shown.
So first we got a look at Monster Hunter Rise.
Right, which
is the more typical Monster Hunter game.
Yeah.
And so they talked about verticality a lot, so that you're going to be able to scale stuff really easy, which was never really a thing in the other games.
I mean, it was
you had your little hook shot or whatever, the grapple hook.
Yeah.
You had abilities that could launch you up, but they're making this to where I can't remember, it was like a bug or something.
It's called a wire bug. It's essentially a grapple hook mechanic where you
don't have to grapple to anything.
You don't have to grapple to anything. You can grapple to thin air,
which is super cool, and it adds tactical elements to hunting the monsters.
Yeah, to get closer or like pull yourself
or to pull
away.
stuff away.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
It looks cool. You can ride a large dog.
Yeah,
you have like a dog companion now instead of just the Palico cats.
Which one of the cool things that I was kind of seeing on that is like when you're riding the dog, you can heal up. You can like use some items, and like you're not running out of stamina. So when you're chasing these monsters here, you're not having to like wait for your stamina to replenish and all that minutia.
It just helps the game, I think. Like the mechanics, not having to get mad at you lost an animal.
It allows you to
monster.
Play more aggressively, faster style gameplay, all that stuff here.
And then this game comes out, is it March of 2021 they said?
March 26, 2021 here. So, yeah, I mean, this is really looks like the Switch's equivalent to Monster Hunter World here.
Yeah.
And, I mean, kind of makes sense just because Nintendo and Monster Hunter have had a pretty long-standing relationship. Like for a while, like most of their games were on Nintendo platforms here.
Yeah, like Generations was on the 3DS.
3, Try, all those games and all that. They were all on Nintendo platforms here. It's not only till like recently with like Monster Hunter World did they kind of shift over to Xbox and PlayStation and PC.
Yeah, and this looks like it has more of a story than World. World had a story, but it was kind of loose because you could go out and do whatever the heck you wanted.
It was more bare bones, and I mean, that's fine. I mean, I don't want like a big story to get in the way of like what makes a game great, or like try to like have the narrative dictate gameplay sometimes here. If the gameplay is just fine as is here,
Yeah, I mean, this piqued my interest honestly for this game.
Yeah.
They announced also Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Yeah.
Which that's definitely more RPG story based.
Very much so. Kind of almost seems like maybe a little Pokemon-ish here because you're befriending the monsters that you would hunt in the other games.
Right.
So should be called Monster Hunter. Should be Monster Friends or something like that. But yeah, you can ride the monsters. It's very RPG focused. Has kind of more cel shaded, kind of cutesy art style kind of thing, and seems a lot more story focused as opposed to your typical Monster Hunter game.
Totally, and that comes out 2021 summer.
Yep.
So next year is a lot of Monster Hunter for Switch fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep a lookout for both of those. I'm excited. They also announced some other games.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about those because I don't really know a lot about these franchises.
Sure. So Rune Factory 5 got announced here. So I don't know how much you know about this, but essentially it's like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, but you fight monsters. So you're doing your daily town management and everyday life chores management, but you're also fighting monsters on top of that here. So it's kind of a cool premise. I've never played any of the Rune Factory games, but I mean this might be something I might pick up. Maybe I might have to see a little bit more about that. And then it's not in the show notes, but Disgaea 6. Yeah, which is I don't know. That might be one that you might find kind of interesting just because it's from what I understand. RPG, tactics space game and all that. And has a lot of systems and whatnot.
Well, something that was cool with that was when they announced that, they also said Disgaea 5 is going to be on the Switch online thing for free.
That's sick.
For a limited time to try out. So I don't know if that's today. I'm going to go home and check.
Yeah. Just kind of fool around with it. See
if I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is not in our show notes at all, but basically if this is the model Nintendo's going with where they're going to release older games or games for a limited run for us to try, almost PlayStation or something.
Yeah, just a
dude,
demo.
that's phenomenal.
Yeah,
let us play the game for, a month or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, leading up to the release of the new game.
Yeah, a way to build hype and also maybe eventually purchase that old game that you are playing. Yeah, absolutely. And then Ori and the Will of the Wisp is out now.
Right now.
It came out immediately after that direct.
I never played Ori. I heard good things though.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I mean, the art style is absolutely fantastic on that here. I played a little bit of the demo of the first game. It's on Switch right now, but the thing that kind of surprised me about this game is this was a big Xbox exclusive
back in the day.
It came out this March here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this was a Xbox exclusive this March. It was only going to be on Xbox, and 6 months later, now we have it on the Switch here. So kind of surprising. Maybe not. I mean, Xbox has been playing a little fast and loose with their exclusives this generation.
That's
here.
true.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, looks interesting. I mean, still need to play the first game before I even think about playing this one, but yeah.
Yeah, the other game I thought looked cool was Hades. Now, here's the deal. I'm kind of played out on the dungeon crawler, random generated.
Yeah.
I have a ton of those games, I feel like, and it looks super cool. And
it really does.
It got really good reviews.
Yeah, no.
I think IGN gave it a 9 out of 10.
I think so,
A couple other places give an 8.5.
I mean, this was one where it initially got announced. I was kind of seems cool. Probably won't play it, but the more I see of it, the more I like it. I'm like, do I need to actually play this thing?
Yeah, it's $20 on the Switch eShop.
I'll probably wait till a sale or something here.
Well, it is on sale right now because it's the first release, so it's usually 26, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Christmas is coming, and they usually do crazy sales during then.
Yeah,
so.
Christmas, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that stuff here. So yeah.
All right, so I wish we could play the dum da da dum da 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 dum dum.
Careful, we might get flagged. Just we might. Some notes here.
Sony Strikes Back.
Oh yeah, so
for those of you who don't know, we don't really play a lot of Xbox. So
yeah, so sorry, Xbox fanboys here, but basically, so Xbox had their big showcase for the Xbox Series S and X last week, and in very predictable fashion, Sony's just like, "Hey, guess what we got coming next week."
Yeah.
And it was their big PS5 showcase.
Yep.
Some good, some bad. We're gonna get into all
Some
of it
interesting,
here.
yeah.
But let's
talk cash money right now.
Let's talk cash money and let's dates here. So
yeah.
So first off, the PS5, the one with the disc drive, is going to be the same price as
Series X.
Series X.
$499.
Yep. So and then the digital only version is going to be $399, so $100 less.
Yeah.
And it's going to be coming out 2 days after the Series S and X launch, November 12th.
Yeah.
So, I think this is very interesting just because, it's making it a little bit harder for consumers to make a choice in terms of what a budget system is going to look like. Because
totally, yeah.
with the Series X, obviously it's $300 for essentially a light version of your next gen console here. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you pay $100 more, you can get the digital edition of the PS5, which, as far as I understand it, is going to be essentially the same machine as the PS5.
Yeah, just no drive.
Just without the disc drive. I mean, there's still a little bit of details.
Have they released storage size yet?
They've released storage size for PS5. I think it's
like 852.
800 or something.
Yeah.
But for the digital edition, they have not released that yet. So it may be more potentially without the space for the hard drive.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting, and it would make
you would need it though too, because
you probably need it a little. Probably, yeah, I would say, yeah, but
yeah. So we're gonna have a lot of different things we could pick from this holiday season,
right? I mean, and it seems like there's, in a way, this is better for consumers just because more options are typically always better, but it's also kind of makes it a little bit of a harder decision to make. Do you go for the cheapest thing on the market that may be obsolete, maybe couple of years down the line potentially, or do you go for something a little more expensive, doesn't have the disc drive here, but it will probably get you through the generation here is what we're assuming.
Yeah. And also even choosing between, it really depends how you enjoy your media. I think the digital is probably the way a lot of people are going to go.
Possibly, yeah.
Because you get that extra $100 off, and if the only difference is you don't have a disc drive, you could go spend that $100 on games.
On game, exactly. And the thing about it too is the system itself. Out of the two systems, we've talked about how much we hate the PS5's design here.
It's stupid.
But if
looks like Kaiba's coat. From
exactly,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah. No, honestly, we need to take a Kaiba action figure, chop its head off, and just put it on top of the PS5 here. But in terms of the one that looks better, it's obvious that the digital one looks better. It's more symmetrical. It doesn't have that awkward, just bulge for the freaking disc drive. But I digress. So it's a. So it'll be interesting, but let's talk about some of the games that we now know are going to be at launch.
Yeah, at launch, and a lot of games that you're just going to be able to play.
Yeah,
free basically.
Basically, yeah. So Demon Souls is a launch game. Now, I will fully admit, when I saw that, I'm like, do I buy a PS5 now here, on launch? Yeah, and the answer is still probably not.
And also, good luck with that because pre-orders are basically a dumpster fire right now. Yeah. So, but from what I saw of this game, it actually showed us kind of a little bit of a small trailer at the beginning. Yeah.
But then it goes into gameplay, and it looks absolutely fantastic. This is
and they should. Yeah, it's next generation.
Exactly. And the graphics are the best they've ever been for a Souls game here, which typically Souls games are not known for their crazy
beauty.
Yeah, their high detailed graphics, but this thing, man, they really nailed it on this one here. And so it looks fantastic. I'm excited to play it eventually.
Yeah.
So
and then I don't know if we talk about this later, but basically Sony's pretty much come out and said now that first party titles gonna be $70.
Yes. We will be talking about that in a little bit here, but
because speaking of that, Spider-Man Miles Morales is only gonna be $50.
Yep.
Which is dope because that's what I was hoping for because it's not gonna be like a full-fledged game.
I mean,
so
I would have probably preferred it like I think if they
like $40
would have been like the perfect price point, but I get it, it's kind of the next gen thing, everything's becoming a little bit more expensive, but talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales, so they showed off a little bit of that game. It's set 1 year after the first game. It's going to be at least starting out, it seems like it's going to be around Christmas time, winter season for New York, and they showed this big bridge action set piece where you're fighting against the Tinkerer and all that.
Yeah.
And honestly looks really dope here. I think it actually what they showed looks better than what I saw of the first game here. Mm-hmm. It actually makes me want to go out and play the first game now.
Yeah.
So, but a couple other launch games that they announced, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which is kind of it looks like their answer to a Mario 3D Worlds type thing, 3D platformer with friends. So you have that kind of multiplayer couch co-op. Destruction All-Stars, which is essentially a destruction derby game where you are trying to mess up other people's cars, and then if your car gets messed up, you're now a person that's running out on the track trying to avoid cars and getting ran over and stuff. So it's kind of a unique thing for a multiplayer game here and all that. It kind of looks interesting. Yeah. And then Godfall will be another one. There are other ones too that are going to be.
In case you're wondering, Fortnite.
Launched. Yeah, Fortnite's there. The new Call of Duty, the new Assassin's Creed, Cyberpunk. All of these games will be launched. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Cyberpunk could easily get delayed again. I'm almost willing to bet that it will here.
Yeah.
But other than launch games, they showed off a lot of upcoming games, or at least a couple of big ones here. So Final Fantasy 16 got shown, and 4-minute trailer. It's going to be coming to PS5 and PC. So
that's interesting.
So they got console exclusivity back here for Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And you saw the trailer, right? Yeah. So looks a lot different from what we've seen from Final Fantasy in the past. It's looks like a more dark fantasy tone, kind of in the style of The Witcher, Dark Souls, or Game of Thrones.
They have curse marks.
Yeah, they got curse marks on there. It looks a lot more medieval. You don't have that hybrid technology. I didn't see one piece of technology in that entire trailer there. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting here. And it's probably going to be the darkest Final Fantasy yet here. I don't know if you noticed or not, but do you know the Final Fantasy theme or
yeah, I know how it sounds.
Yeah, I don't know if you picked up on it, but in that trailer, it had it was played by these slow violins, kind of making it a very kind of sad, miserable kind of sounding version of that song. Where it's usually more upbeat and majestic kind of feeling, I guess. So,
yeah, I think they're definitely casting a tone, and even with the dark shades they use, kind of the shadows and stuff they use in the trailer, definitely makes it seem it's going to be a darker game.
Well, and from what we can gather, it seems like it's going to be kind of a revenge story kind of focus around to it here. So far, it looks like it's going to be a solo venture. It doesn't look like you're going to have party members.
Good.
And the combat reminds me of Devil May Cry, basically.
Definitely Devil May Cry.
Combos, aerials, combat, stuff like that. And it also seems like your summons are giant kaiju in this game. Yeah.
Do some hand signs.
Yep.
They ripped that off from Naruto, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. Looks cool. I'm more excited for this next game.
Oh, I know you are here. So let's get right into it. So Harry Potter, the RPG, the rumored RPG that's been making the rounds for the rounds of the rumor mill for the past couple of years. It's real.
It is real.
It is real. It's set in the 1800s.
So 100 years before, basically, the events of Harry Potter.
Yep. You create your own character. Seems to have kind of a more ranged action combat type thing.
Well, yeah, you're a spell slinger.
Right, exactly.
So you're a Witcher wizard.
Yeah. So
coming next year, though.
Yeah, coming next year.
I'm about this game. This is everything I wanted as a child.
Is this going to be the game that makes you buy a next gen console?
No.
Okay.
No. I just really want it.
Okay.
Yeah. No. It won't be the one that gets me to buy it. I don't think. But I'm trying to like. I think this will probably come out in both generations. Is what I'm guessing. It could. If it doesn't, it'll definitely push people, I think, to buy a PS5.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility here.
I think that it just seems super cool. Like, make your own kind of story. Not make your own story, but just like there's some kind of mystery that revolves around your character, basically, is what they're saying. And so it's going to be interesting, especially if you can, like, there's like skill trees and stuff, hopefully, that you can like do different spells that you have in your arsenal.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. It's
super cool. I'm excited.
It's allowing you to live out your Harry Potter fantasy. I'm not much of a Harry Potter guy, so this doesn't do much for me. But the game looks really, really good graphically wise. It looks like pretty cool concept. And I just remember we did not actually talk about like what the title of this game is. It's Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
So, and the thing that got me pretty excited.
It got me excited, and I barely played the first game.
Yeah. God of War Ragnarok is teased. So nothing crazy. It's just a logo with Kratos' voice.
And some chanting.
Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to come out next year, but I have very little faith in that it's going to come out 2021. I mean, if you're not going to show me like, actual gameplay or, a demo or, a trailer or something like that, I have very little confidence that you'll be making the rounds next year here. I'm assuming maybe 2022, but I'm still pumped that this game is planned to come out sooner rather than later here. I mean, God of War was one of the best games, if not the best game I played on PS4. And I think, I am honestly just absolutely pumped. And it's one of the main reasons why I'll probably get a PS5. So let's talk about like some of the things that we weren't super crazy about, like in this showcase here.
Yeah, not super crazy that games are going to be $70 base, not including DLC.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like if this was like
games already cost $120 basically. If you add all their DLC patches and all that stuff, so
they sure do. And I mean, and here's the thing: is like if this was like, let's say this was like the new standard, games cost $70. But there's no DLC. You get the full version of that game and all that.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. But if that was the case, I'd be like, okay, that's more than fair here, But I mean, talking about like which games are gonna be $70. Demon's Souls and Destruction All Stars are gonna be $70 at launch. Basically, Sony said that pretty much all their first party like AAA games are going to be $70. Mm-hmm. Sackboy Big Adventure, that'll be $60 here. And then Miles Morales will be at $50, like we mentioned earlier. And I mean, it looks like the inevitable did happen here. I mean, and I get companies are going to need to charge more at some, a certain point just because the cost of development is becoming more expensive. Mm-hmm. It's just, where does the buck stop? Because
it doesn't.
I mean, and that's what I'm kind of getting nervous about is like, okay, for the longest time, I mean, I could be misremembering here, but I remember games being $50 like throughout.
Like PS2.
Well, PS2, 64, Super Nintendo. I remember those games retailing at $50, and that was like the standard for the longest time. It wasn't until Xbox, PS3, until things started getting to $60. And it's like, okay, well, at first I was like, okay, that's not too bad, just $10 extra, and like this will probably last us for, a couple generations. Only 2 generations here did that last us. So
yeah, I mean, it's been,
I mean,
I don't know, 20 something years since the game, like that. It's like $10 a year, a dollar a year. If you think about it in those terms.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. But I mean, again, it's like, once those like games start getting to like, 80, 90, 100, it's like people are going to, it's going to be like how it was back in like back when we were kids. Like you get like maybe a couple of games a year and you better hope they were good games because they were going to last you for the majority of the year.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but
yeah. And so one thing that is kind of good but kind of bad in my opinion is Horizon and Miles Morales. So the new Horizon Forbidden West and the Miles Morales Spider-Man game is going to be coming to PS4. Now, here's the thing. I get, well, let me say this first. So if you do get these games on PS4, you can upgrade to the PS5 version for free, whether you buy digital or disc-based. Now, I don't know how that disc-based whole thing is going to work here, but, that's still pretty cool. Now, I get why Spider-Man is coming out on PS4. It's like legitimately like so close in terms of like from the last Spider-Man game, and then also, it's a launch game. So usually launch games aren't like going to be the big showcase for what
graphics,
the PS5s can do here. Usually they're pretty like close in terms of like what last gen was able to do. But Horizon is like the one that I'm kind of like, what now? Because I was assuming that game was supposed to be, taking full advantage of the PS5 here. And it's a little disappointing that it's not. I mean, it's good for people who own PS4s, but for people who are going to own PS5s, it's kind of like your game and, is going to look worse and perform worse than what it could be.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yep. And then we also got more, well, essentially we got like what the lowdown is on what the backwards, basically like being able to play PS4 games on your PS5, like what that's going to look like. So it's not going to be like you can insert your disc or download your digital titles from the PlayStation Network and all that. What it's going to be is you're going to have a new service that's added on to your PlayStation Plus membership. It'll be for free. So that's one thing they got right. Mm-hmm. It's going to be called PlayStation Plus Collection. Basically, it will have 99% of the PS library available eventually. But starting out, they have like 16 games that will be available at launch. Yeah. And while this is better than nothing, this is still a missed opportunity on Sony's part, especially considering how Xbox is basically saying, yeah, everything is going to be available on Xbox. Like Xbox, original Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One, it's all there.
Yeah, and we'll see, I guess, how much of that is actually true. I don't know. Like, I think it's still cool that they're going to allow you to have access basically to old games.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly like,
and for free.
It is for free. I mean, I could definitely see them like at a certain point saying like, okay, yeah, if you want to like get like the extra bundle here where you get like PS2, PS3, or like
that's
PS1
cost
games,
you something.
That could cost you something here, which, I mean, and that's the thing is like, I think if they were a little bit, I would say if they were a little bit more gung-ho on the being able to play PS4 backwards compatible, it makes the argument more convincing to buy a PS5 because you can sell your PS4 and use the money for the PS5. But
yeah, and if you actually have access to all the games that you had before and plus more, plus every other game that was released,
like the ones,
it's almost worth getting a PS5 at that point if you haven't played God of War, if you haven't played those exclusives like me.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's like a lot of like first party stuff. It's not like just like all these little games that nobody cares about here. Let me see if I can pull up that list real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So, all right. So here's what we're looking at for what's going to be available at launch. And then obviously there's going to be more to come. It's going to probably be something similar like to the Nintendo's online old school network. But God of War, Bloodborne, Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy 15, Fallout 4, Mortal Kombat X, Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, Days Gone, Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Battlefield 1, Infamous Second Son, Batman Arkham Knight, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7. I mean, all of these games are actually kind of high-profile games here, and like they're not just like oh, here's an indie game for you here.
Right. No, yeah, sounds exciting.
Not knocking on indie games, but I mean, there's definitely a price difference in between like a AAA game and an indie game.
Yeah, if they can get it to 99%, once they get it, for me, it'd almost be worth going and buying versus trying to get some old games,
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah, so.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. That's it for today's podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening, watching, all those things. We greatly appreciate it. Check us out on our social medias. And remember, everyone's a nerd about something.